Excuse me in advance because this is going to be knocking all over the place because I'm moving around. But I am going to do my best to keep the knockage to a minimum. I'm going to do my best, okay? All right. Let us begin. If you have not gotten your water or your yoga props or anything else that you might feel you might need for this practice, go ahead and grab that. Go ahead and give it a grab. The week has weeked, and I know it hasn't just weeked for just me. And so I'm honestly just really, really grateful to hold space for myself and with you all. So find a comfortable seat. We are going to get started. If you can, begin to just kind of let the thoughts of all the things outside of you and your mat, or you in this practice, try to let it fall to the wayside. It might feel difficult because, how couldn't it, But really, really give yourself a chance to just be here for you, Let's try to do that. Class is beginner friendly. And by beginner friendly, I truly just mean a beginner can do it. It's one of those things where I love to hold space for where we are now in the present and where we want to go. As much as I'm the teacher, I'm simply a guide. I'm just here to guide you through some poses that are linked together through the breath and give you an idea of what practice can feel like for yourself. And being that you are at home or wherever you may be practicing along with this video, it means that you took a chance to show up for yourself, even if it's scary, even if it's uncomfortable, and you're ready to just kind of see what this has in store for you. If at any point I do or I lead you to anything that you do not want to do, please honor yourself, honor your body, your mind, and your spirit. Don't do that thing, okay? You are not forced to do anything that I say at all. This is all at your leisure, at your will. And just vibe. If you feel the flow is taking you somewhere else, go with it. I love having space to just kind of move how I want to move, especially after my body has gotten all warmed up and worked up with something else. So literally, if you just like, ooh, this will feel good right now, follow that. Follow that moment. Give yourself that moment, even in this space, okay? Don't be afraid to veer off the path, and don't be afraid to take a break whenever you feel it. I personally enjoy taking a break in child's pose, but you do what feels best for you. If that's feet up the wall, put your feet up the wall. If that's laying down on your side, baby, lay down on your side, okay? Do you? We gonna do us together in community and in practice. We are going to be going up and down, so maybe have something that you can lean on or that can be assist for you if going all the way down or maybe lifting all the way up into something just does not feel funky for you right now. Have that nearby. Maybe have your yoga blocks. Maybe even have the yoga strap. I don't have my yoga strap today, and that's okay. We're just gonna adapt into what we do, So find your comfortable seat if you have not already. It doesn't matter if it's crossed legs straight out. Take your seat, however. Maybe you're sitting up on your chair. The vibe is yours, okay? If you want to use yoga blocks for support under the buttocks, I definitely implore you to do that. Just lifting my butt off the ground allows my hips to have a little bit more space and comfort, and it allows my legs to not feel like I'm forcing my knees into something that they don't want to be in, So I'm going to take my yoga blocks and have that good old seat. Once you find your comfortable seat, just take a moment to center yourself in this space. Feel your surroundings around you. So feel yourself as the central part of the space that you're in. Maybe take your eyes and take a slight gaze forward. Maybe close your eyes. Whatever feels most inviting for you, do that. Okay? I like to close my eyes at the beginning. It just gives me a moment to just kind of sit and breathe with the focus on me. Because my eyes are closed, so I'm not as distracted as I would normally be. So wherever you are, sit up nice and tall. And just breathe normally. Take your breath in and out of your nose. Try to get comfortable doing that. It's very, very healthy for the body to breathe in and out of your nose. I know it's kind of hard for just different circumstances, but keep trying. Make it an active thing to try, okay? Let the shoulders fall away from the ears. Continue with your natural breath. Begin to kind of feel the weight of the week, or maybe even just the weight of today to fall down you and roll off of you like water on a duck. Everything is kind of starting to fall at your wayside. You're beginning to relax into your seat, really allowing the ground to hold you, to cradle you, to support you. Maybe you find yourself sighing, because sometimes the body just likes a nice big old sigh. So let's take an inhale through the nose, sitting up nice and tall, and sigh it right out of the mouth. Let's do that a few more times together. Breathe in. All the way, let it fill your lungs. Breathe out, sigh. Let's breathe in. Really allow the belly to fill. Allow the chest to rise. Maybe you find yourself sitting up a little bit taller in your seat. Hold that breath at the top for a few. Sigh it out of the mouth. Really kind of feel yourself melt down. Maybe you start to slouch a little bit. Take that inhale, sitting up nice and tall once more. The shoulders are down and back. Hold that breath at the top. Sigh it out. Maybe you find some movement. Maybe you feel a little wiggle or roll of the shoulders. Or maybe you are just comfortable and happy in this stillness. That's beautiful too, okay? Keeping it or taking a soft gaze forward. Take a big inhale. Maybe support your body with your hands on your knees or your legs if your legs are straight. Inhale, lifting the chest, really allowing the belly to expand. Big exhale out of the mouth. Maybe it makes a noise, maybe it doesn't. Breathe in. All the way up. Feel that breath go from the bottom of the belly all the way up through the throat to the top of the head. Sigh it out. On this next inhale, allow your chest to come forward for a seated cat-cow. So we're allowing the chest to go forward. Our shoulders are back. Maybe the chin lifts. As you exhale it out, round the spine. Maybe bring the chin to the chest. Rounding the back. Inhale, shift the chest forward. The head comes up. Chin is lifted. Chest is forward. Shoulders down. Exhale, round the spine. Drop the chin. Sigh it out the mouth. Let's do a few more just like that on your own, okay? When you make it to the bottom of that side, take an inhale, but this time bring the arms out nice and wide to the T, and then lift the arms above head. And this time, as you side out, bring the elbows to a 90-degree angle. We like to call this cactus. Keeping the chest pulled forward, keeping that chin lifted, side out. Inhale, straighten the arms, reaching up to the ceiling. Exhale, bringing the elbows down to the 90 degrees, sighing it out. Inhale, reaching up once more, nice and tall, reach, reach, reach. And this time, as you exhale, twist over to your right side, bringing that left hand to the right knee. Supporting that twist by grabbing the right knee. And maybe you don't twist too far because it's like, whoa, I just got here. That doesn't feel the best. Honor your body. Take that pause. This might feel a little bit better later. But wherever you are, take your gaze over to the right side, okay? And breathe. Really fill your belly. Really exhale it out. With each exhale, this twist might feel a little bit better. Just take note of how your body is feeling in this, okay? Take a big inhale where you are. And exhale, unwind that twist, making your way back to center and maybe taking some chest rolls. Bringing the chest in a circular motion, like you're drawing a circle with your chest on the ground. Maybe you feel it in your lower back because the back is in this business. Maybe you feel your obliques and your abdominals engaging from this circular motion. Maybe the shoulders want to get into it too. See what that feels like. And if stillness is calling your name, peace, be still. Inhale up, we're bringing the arms right on back up. Reach it up. Exhale the arms into that 90 degrees, that cactus. The chin stays lifted. Inhale, reaching up to the ceiling. This time, we're going to take a pause here. And when you're ready for that exhale, twist over to the left side. Right hand meets the left knee. If the boobage is in the way, do not be afraid to move it out of the way. Take that gaze over to the left side. Continue sitting up nice and tall. Try not to collapse. It might feel a little weird in your back if you're collapsing. Breathe through. I know we're gonna twist again. It's like, okay, honey, this twisting nonsense, I know. I am not the number one fan of twists, but I'd be remiss to say that they don't do wonders for the body. Continue to breathe. Take your next exhale, release that twist, make your way back to center, and maybe find those circles again in the opposite direction. You can take them as fast or as slow as you like. It's all up to you, boo. Find that stillness and just take one shoulder at a time and roll them backward. It's giving Adele rolling in the deep. Engage the abdominals so that your lower back and your back in general is supported. because you might find yourself hunched over and you really want to keep a nice tall seat. Take those shoulder circles or shoulder rolls forward. I like to glide my hands just across my legs. Maybe it's the additional sensory input. I don't know. I just like to do it though. Find that stillness. Consider bringing your hands to your heart. Just one hand on top of the other. And just taking a moment. Maybe your eyes are closed. Maybe they're open. And if you don't feel like having your hands to your heart is for you, you can have your hands in prayer, or you can bring them back down to your knees. Maybe palms facing up. This is more of a receiving position. It's like you're just taking a moment, preparing yourself to receive all that this practice has for you. Now, before we make our way to tabletop or anywhere else, inhale the arms back up, reaching up to the sky. I really like to reach up. Maybe it's a short thing. I don't know. But take another big inhale while you're reaching up here. Maybe the chin lifts. And as you exhale, bring one hand down to the side, via your right or your left, whichever moves first. And just take a seated side bend. Try to keep the shoulders away from the ears. But if it's like, girl, my shoulders are doing what they doing, that's okay. Maybe you find yourself opening your chest a little bit toward the ceiling. Or maybe you're like, no, I like where I'm at. And that's cool too. Take a inhale, make your way back up to center. Maybe your arms come out to a T. As you exhale, and take that opposite hand down to meet your mat. We are side bending on the other side. Another gentle reminder for the core engagement. Again, you might find yourself trying to collapse open. And maybe if you are near your seat, maybe you're like, you know what? I feel like I need some support. Lean on that seat. Allow it to support you. It's here for a reason. Take another big inhale. Exhale out. Make your way to tabletop position. You want to have the knees directly under the hips, and you want your wrists directly under your elbows, which are directly under your shoulders. Move the blocks to the top of your mat. You might need them in a minute. Just maybe, just maybe. So now we're in tabletop. Before we get to going and all this other foolishness of downward facing dog or anything else, let's warm up the wrist a little bit, okay? So the hands are directly under the shoulders. We have shoulders, elbows, wrists. The fingers are spread nice and wide. Find a nice grip. Some of us like to kind of like grab, almost, I would like to say, kind of like a frog. Almost like trying to stick to a wall. Use your finger pads and really trying to find that dig. Maybe your fingers kind of bend a little bit and make that suction happen in the center of your palm. As best as you can. It's kind of weird to explain and then have you do, but based off of what I'm saying, do your best. Find comfort in how your hands are placed on the ground. maybe it isn't exactly like I explained. It's like, ooh, that doesn't feel supportive. Find your supportive moment, okay? So here we are, hands, wrists, elbows, and shoulders are in line. Hips and knees are in line. And let's just take a pause for a minute. Try not to arch the back. We're not doing no arching anything just yet. Engage that core for a flat back. You might find your butt tucking under a little bit. And that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Find stillness. Really find your grounding in this position. A lot of people kind of bypass tabletop as if it's like nothing. But sit here long enough, engaging your body, you're going to be like, oh, hell, tabletop is actually that girl. And she is. So take a moment. And before we get to moving forward and back, let's actually do some more shoulder jam, okay? I want you to keep your arms straight, but allow your chest to drop toward the ground. You might feel yourself kind of doing the weird shifty kind of situation, and that's exactly what I want you to do. Try not to move forward and back just yet, but when you find yourself pushing down, I want you to push the ground away and find your chest cavity kind of like lifting out of that shoulder space. So it's kind of like your shoulder blades are coming into action and then they're releasing. So find this slide, this shift of pushing the ground away from you, and almost like a magnet, your chest and shoulders come back down. See what that feels like. You might feel mad engagement across your chest, especially if it's not something that you find yourself doing often. And that's okay. Your body is going to start responding like, what the hell is this? Okay, we kind of like this. Okay, we kind of don't like this. And just listen to it, okay? Maybe tuck the toes under for a little bit more support in this stance. Continue that abdominal engagement. And this time, as you push away, keep that push away and shift your weight forward and back. You might start feeling that in the front of the hands, right here at the top of the wrist. You might even start feeling that in the toes, because as you shift back, the toes are getting a nice stretch too. You don't have to go too far over the fingertips. Just find your limit and see what feels good. Maybe take this motion side to side. And you know I like a good circle, so maybe take it around in a circle. Millennials, I hear you. Bring it around town. And reverse that circle. You might feel some weird sensations. Your body might kind of take pause. Mine did. I don't know if you saw that little jolt that I did. But my right wrist has been a little wonky. And so I've been babying baby girl. But today, we're going to see how we feel. And I will adjust as necessary. You get to see me real time. Adjust. Make your way back to that central space. Keep that ab engagement. And this time we are going to drop the belly. You can relax the belly. You can keep the belly engaged and relax it at the same time. Sounds crazy, I know. But play around with what that is. I'm not telling you to suck your stomach in, but keep your actual abdominal muscles engaged while allowing the belly to drop. Take an inhale where you are. Continue pushing against the ground. Tuck the tailbone around the spine. We are back in that cat-cow. Maybe you find your elbows, your inner elbows, turning, wrapping inward as you round your spine. And then as you arch, you might feel them turn back. So if you look at my elbow turns in. So the inside of my elbow is facing more so forward. And then it can turn. My shoulder actually just popped. Untuck the toes. Shift back into downward facing. Wrong. Shift back into child's pose. We're headed to downward facing dog in a minute. We're going to take a moment in child's pose. If your blocks are near you, maybe consider resting your elbows or your forearms on your blocks. Also consider bringing the knees out nice and wide to have room for the belly. Whether you have a belly or you, well, technically we all have a belly, but whether you have some extra belly meat or not, a wide child's pose really can just be dynamic for the hips. Warning, we're doing a little bit of hip stuff. So if you find yourself to be a little bit emotional or really kind of tap into said emotions, sorry, not sorry. Maybe allow the head to drop down between the arms and shift the butt back toward the feet. You can still find yourself engaged. You can keep your abdominals engaged or you can relax them. But you will feel that pressure of shifting your butt back all up in the hips and possibly through the tops of the leg. Especially if you're pressing your knees into the ground. You can make your way forward, maybe even bringing the toes in and shifting back to child's pose for a little bit longer. Or you can come right back on up, bringing the knees back under you. Maybe keeping your hands on the block to shift up into a downward facing dog. Or you can have your hands right on your mat. But I'm going to use my yoga blocks. I'm going to tuck my toes under. I'm going to engage my core, tuck my tailbone slightly, and I'm going to lift my knees to shift back into that first downward facing dog. Yes, we're going to meet here a few times, and yes, we're going to like it. Find what it is to balance your weight between your hands and your feet. Your heels do not have to meet the mat. They can stay up here and float. Just don't force anything. Don't force your heels to the mat. Maybe take a step out wide. Maybe have a wide downward facing dog. Just find that balance between hands and feet. Not putting too much in the hands and not doing too much pushing back in a weird way in the feet. Step your feet forward. You should make your way to the middle, if not the top of your mat, in kind of a half lift or a forward fold. If you want to fold forward more, keep a slight bend in the knees and allow your top half to come down toward the ground. You don't want to sit back and do it. You want to make sure that all areas of your feet are nice and grounded. Again, keeping that slight bend in the knees for protection. I'm hypermobile in my knees, so I got to be careful. Because I'll sit back like this in a minute, and it's like, ooh, nope. So maybe even take an exaggerated bend, and then shift your weight forward. You can grab the elbows for a little ragdoll. You can make your way to a half lift by changing the height of the blocks. Or you can meet yourself here at your shins, ankles, mat, whatever floats your boat. Just take a moment, take an inhale, and as you exhale, bend into the knees and slowly roll up, allowing your head to be the last thing to make its way up to the top. I'm going to switch my mic now because I hear it doing the most. Bad apologies. And we shall continue. All right. So we're at the top of our mat, okay? We're going to do what I would like to call a mixed sun sal, because we're going to start with a sun A and we're going to go into like a few other things, but then you'll find our way back to making our way through a sun A. So it's a little mixed situation, okay? Finding your way to the top of your mat. Palms are face forward. We are in a strong and tall mountain pose. Our shoulders are down. Our core is engaged. Core also means the back. So our abdominals are nice and engaged. Maybe it's a slight tuck in the tailbone. I'll I'll stand over here so you can see my whole head. Maybe it's a slight tuck of the tailbone. Palms are forward. Inhale the arms up by the ears, reaching up toward the ceiling. Maybe the chest comes forward some. Exhale, forward fold. Make your way down, possibly to your yoga blocks. Maybe your hands on your shin in this half lift. Exhale all the way down this time. Now we're in that forward fold. We are in that nice and yummy forward fold, protecting our knees. Come back up to that half lift, making your way to your yoga blocks if they are there. And stepping down, making your way to that tabletop position. Here we're going to inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. Our back is arched. We took the booty up. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, press into the mat with the feet and the hands. And exhale, round the spine. One more just like that. Inhale, lifting the chest, arching the back. Pow. Exhale, rounding the spine. Inviting that cat, tucking the tailbone. From here, I want you to shift your butt back as if you're going to make your way to child's pose, but come up on your fingertips. Take a pause here. Maybe you might feel comfortable bringing your hands to your hips. Whatever is your pleasure, make your way all the way up on your knees. So we're just simply up on our knees, and we are going to venture into a little bit of camel. Now if you're like, honey, what is a camel? It is just a very lovely, lovely heart opener that I personally like to do. It just really stretches all the front body and gives the back body a chance to nicely engage, including the glutes. So what I want you to do is get to squeezing those glutes. You might feel your hips shift forward some. Try to keep your hips still directly over your knees. Maybe they might come forward just a little bit. Shifting this forward, the shoulders are back and down. Let's keep them away from the ears. Let's take a pause here. Maybe the hands make their way to the small of your back. Maybe you want to keep a fist in your low back, keeping the chest open. It's giving Superwoman or Superman, okay? It's really giving, we're a superhero. This can be considered camel. It's not always about bringing your head down to your feet. Shift those hips forward some more. Open the chest. Maybe allow the head to kind of lift up toward the sky. We're not going to just take it all the way back and we're just going to crank the neck. No, we don't want to do that. We want to shift the hips. We want to lift the chest, kind of take a rainbow arch effect, allowing your head to look directly up at the ceiling. Maybe you're like, this was really nice. And maybe you want to take one hand back to the heel. If you're like, okay, too much, grab that yoga block that should be nearby. You can put it to the inside of your foot or next to the outside of your foot. Whatever feels good for you. Try this out. Just try the different angles. Maybe bring your hands to your chest, one hand to your chest, and that other hand is either down at the foot or it's down on the yoga block, on the inside or the outside of your leg. Whatever feels good for you. The main thing is you want to keep your chest up toward the sky. So you don't want to twist. If you find yourself twisting, make your way up. Find that central space again and find your correct arch. We don't want to we're not the exorcists up in here. We want to be controlled in our movement. So shift the hips, engage the abdominals with the chest, and allow the head to fall back. Find that block and play around with the height. See what feels good. If you're like, oh, I like this, maybe consider that hand that's on the chest, bringing that up toward the ceiling. You can keep it up toward the ceiling if you like. Or maybe you want to open the heart a little bit more. You want to take it further above head. You can give it a go. Wherever you are, take a big inhale. And exhale your hands back down to the mat. And maybe you can shift right on into that child's pose if you like. Taking a little moment. This is child's pose too. You don't always have to have your head to the mat. As long as your hips are shifting back toward those feet and the back feels like it's opening a little bit of space between the low back and the thoracic spine, I think you're doing a good job. Shift back up into that tabletop position. Shift them hips back. Come up to the fingertips. We're going to do camel for the other side. Maybe bring those hands to the hips or to the low back. Shoulders go around and back. Chest comes forward. Squeezing the glutes. And allowing that arch to end at the top of the head. Maybe one hand comes to the chest. The other meets the yoga block. Or it meets the heel. Just try not to fall and collapse back into the feet. Keep everything shifting forward. Maybe that extended arm from the chest goes up. Maybe it comes back overhead. Or maybe you're like, you know what? Hands on the foot just ain't for me. Consider bringing your hands into prayer to the center of the chest. Shifting those hips forward. Allowing the chin to lift the head and the chest to come up. Maybe you're like, ooh, what does it feel like with both hands coming up above the head? Try it out for size. Just keep those hips shifting forward. Take a big inhale wherever you are and exhale your way into a child's pose. Remember, grab the blocks if you want them to support your arms. When you're ready, make your way to tabletop. We're going to use both of those blocks, if you're using them, of course. We're going to tuck the toes under. We're going to shift up into that downward facing dog. So we're lifting the hips up, maybe stepping the feet in, and finding that downward facing dog. Maybe you're like, oh, I want to find some movement. Bend the knees one at a time. We like to call this a nice little pedal. Really kind of give it a lean to the other side. I know that feels good in my side body. See what feels good for you. Maybe it's bending both knees. Maybe it's lifting the heels and lowering them. And maybe it's just like, you know what, it's time to step to the top of the mat. Let's all do that. How about that? Make your way into that half lift, with or without your blocks. Exhale into that forward fold. Bend the knees, take an inhale, and slowly roll up to a standing position. Get you some water. Whether you know it or not, you've been doing some major work already, so get you some water if you need. If you just kind of want to take some random movement, take some random movement. And then when you're ready, set back at the top of your mat. All right. Now that we have taken some movement, we are back at the top of our mat, keeping the blocks nearby. You just might need them. They don't have to be directly in front of you, but keep them nearby. You never know until you know, you know? All right, palms are forward. We are back in that mountain pose. Standing nice and tall at the top of the mat. Keep forgetting to step up. Take a few inhales and exhales at your leisure. Just centering yourself back into flow. Maybe you have a soft gaze forward, or maybe your eyes are closed. It's up to you. Just take a moment. And when you're ready, take an inhale, reaching the arms above head. And this time, as you exhale, allow the hands to come forward and then back behind you, sitting down into a nice chair pose. So I was given like a superhero chair situation because the arms are back, the chest is lifted. You are in a nice and yummy squat. Inhale, bring the hands to chest. Step your left foot back. Make your way into a lunge. Do not lift your chest all the way up just yet. Now take an inhale, bringing the chest all the way up. You're up in a high lunge. The front knee is bent. The back heel is lifted. Your hips are squared forward. Exhale your arms into cactus and consider bending that back knee. So we kind of have a lunge pulse situation. Don't hold it for too long. Inhale, straighten both legs. And as you exhale, you can find those blocks. Have them support you as you bring that left knee or that back knee down, untucking the toes. Inhale up, hands in prayer. And exhale into a twist over that right knee. Maybe your hands are in prayer, or you're like, you know what, I'm gonna open up into a T. Just keep that twist. Shoulders are down. Take a moment. Take a big inhale here. And as you exhale, we're gonna windmill to the back of the room, bringing that left hand toward that left foot, pivoting that left foot behind you. That left hand comes down to the left knee, and you're extending that right arm out and up to the ceiling, and you're extending your right leg out to the side. So you're making your way to a gate pose. You're going to be facing the back of the room more than likely, and that's okay. Because after we're here, take a moment, big inhale, maybe you stretch it open, and as you exhale, bring the booty down to that heel. So you're making your way to a seat. You might plop, but that's okay. You're making your way to a seat, keeping that right foot extended. If that extension doesn't feel good along with this bent knee, move that foot. It's okay to move that foot. But you just kind of want to make sure you land in a nice soft seat. Take a moment. Inhale, maybe lift the head, open the chest. And as you exhale, reach your right arm toward that foot. If you're like, yo, I'm not touching that foot, that's okay. Grab your pant leg. Maybe stop at your shin. See what the body feels good doing. Take a moment and just pause and reflect in that. Have that conversation with your body that, okay, what we like to do right now? What you want to do? And give it a go. Take a moment and breathe. I want you to make your way to bending that right leg. So maybe your hand comes back behind your butt. And now we're seated in the 90-90. That just means bending both feet, bending both knees to where you have foot, knee, foot, knee. So maybe your opposite foot is coming right at your knee, or maybe you have a space open. Whatever, it's cool. For support, bring both hands right behind you. They can be wide, but just shift it back. Take a pause here. Maybe you're like, I don't want my knee all the way down. Grab that block that's nearby. Allow it to rest under and support that knee. Just take a moment and chill here. And however you're seated on your mat, moving that block, make your way to windshield wipers. So now you're allowing the knees to fall to the other side. And you're going to do that a few times. Your butt might shift across the mat, and that's okay. But just allow the knees to fall back and forth onto the other side. If you're like, no, that don't feel good, that's okay. Bring both knees up and consider keeping them up the entire time, but still shifting side to side. Wherever you may be with this, bend that left knee again, or bend both knees. Shift your way back to the front of your mat. Make your way into that tabletop position. Maybe you find movement, or maybe you go ahead and open those knees. Allow the toes to touch, and you shift back into that child's pose. Look at you. Finding movement and such. Finding stillness. And how did you know you was going to make your way back to the top of the mat? You didn't, but you did it though. Sometimes you don't know where you're going, but by the time you get there, it feels natural. When you are ready, make your way back through that tabletop position. Maybe find those blocks. Support yourself however you see fit. You can use the blocks to shift into downward facing dog, or you can remain in that tabletop position. Bring one foot up next to those blocks, and then the other, and find yourself in a half lift. However you choose to get there is up to you. Pause in this half lift. Take a big inhale here, actually. And as you exhale, allow your toes, pick the toes up, pivot those heels, and allow the toes to point on the outside of the mat. We're going to bend into our knees. We're going to exhale our way down into a yogi squat. If a squat is not in your forte right now, consider allowing your blocks to support you. Bring them right under the butt. And now you have support. So now you don't have to worry about toe pain. You don't have to worry about knee pain. And it's like, oh, okay, I feel nice and sturdy and grounded. If you're like, you know what, no, I got this. Remove the blocks. You can even rest your hands on them. Hands can come to prayer. Maybe you want to use your elbows and you want to kind of shift your weight side to side. Open up those hips some more. It's up to you, boo. However you're feeling, take a moment. Inhale where you are at. Exhale back into the half lift. Bend into the knees. And slowly roll back up to a standing position. Now let's work this thing out on the left side. Inhale, bringing the arms up by the ears, reaching up nice and tall. Sweeping the hands back as we lift our arms to the back of the room, shifting our butt into the chair pose, bending at the knees, squeezing them together, taking that moment. Inhale, bring the hands to heart center, step that right foot back. We are in our lunge. And now we're going to inhale the arms up. We're in that high lunge. Heel is lifted, hips are squared to the front. Exhale, bend into both knees. Arms come into that cactus position. Inhale. Both legs are straight. Exhale, bend into that front knee. Grab those blocks. Bring that back knee down. Take a pause here. When you're ready, inhale up, hands to heart center. We're about to go into that twist. Exhale, open the arms up to a T, or keep your hands at heart center. And twist over that left knee. Gaze is over the left shoulder. Take a moment of breath. Inhale, and we're going to reverse windmill. So we're pivoting open to the right side, allowing that foot to pivot behind us, that right foot. The right hand comes down toward the right knee. We're lifting that left hand up to the sky, and we're straightening that left foot out. We've made our way to gate pose. Maybe the gaze is straight ahead, or you can look up toward that extended arm. Inhale where you are. Exhale, make your way to a seat, sweeping that foot under you. And now you are in a half, a half seated, something or other, my mind has lost it. So keep one foot in, keeping that left foot extended. Take a big inhale where you are. Exhale your way down your leg. Pause and stop where you feel best suited to, or you can make your way down to your toes. Maybe you lift that heel for an extra little oomph, or maybe you use your toes to press against your hand for a bit more of a stretch in the side body. Take a moment and breathe. When you are ready, bend both knees. So maybe you gotta scoot your butt forward. Bend both knees. We're back in that 90-90. Again, here you have the block. If you don't want to strain that knee, or you just would like a little more support, hands come back behind you. Palms are down. Try not to sink down. Try to keep that chest lifted. But honor your body regardless of where you're at. Take a moment here. And when you are ready, you can remove that block and prepare to do those windshield wipers. Bringing the knees over to the opposite side, taking a pause, and sweeping them to the other side. Again, if you don't want them to come all the way down, keep both knees up and take a slight windshield wipe side to side. No matter the depth, your body is feeling the thing, okay? When you are ready, you can shift your weight back around, maybe shift your knees around and extend one leg back behind you. Maybe you've made your way to a pigeon pose, or you're like, oh, no, not really. You can make your way back to that tabletop position. You can invite some cat-cow here. You can shift back into a child's pose, maybe with some movement, or maybe without. Whatever you feel moved to do, invite some original space here. And invite some original movement. I don't know what you're doing here, but I hope that you're doing you, okay? I'm gonna take a little child's pose, maybe come down to my elbows. That feels good for me right now. Make your way back to tabletop. You can bring those blocks back nearby so that your hands can go on them. I'm going to invite a downward facing dog. Again, you can take your steps forward if you want to, or you can shift up into downward facing dog right along with me. If you're joining me in downward facing dog, maybe consider some of that pedal movement. Maybe you're like, oh, I want to step one foot to the center of the mat. I'm feeling like a 3-leg down dog. I feel like doing some extensions. That's what's up. Maybe you're like, nope. Stillness is my jam right now. I applaud you for listening to yourself. Take an inhale, shift your gaze forward, tiptoe your way into that half lift, with or without your blocks. My blocks are just showing me all kinds of love right now. I'm really just feeling their support. Exhale into that forward fold. Protect those knees with a slight bend. When you are ready, slowly roll up to a standing position. How are you feeling? I know you can't answer me right now, but how are you feeling? Really check in with yourself. Maybe get some more water. Maybe you're in your child's pose or whatever resting pose you've chosen for today. Check in with yourself. Really see how you're feeling, how you're doing. It's almost been an hour of movement. And I know you're probably like, oh my gosh, has it really? Yes. Yes, it has. But the way your body has been responding, it's like, oh, I could do this forever, huh? I know. I feel you. Let's make our way to the top of the mat once more. And we're gonna add just a little something. Just a little something. So we can work through the hips just a little bit more, okay? We're gonna make our way through some lunges. Lunges are okay. We're not gonna pulse, but invite the lunge, okay? Invite the lunge. If you feel moved to move into your split, or if you feel moved to move into something else, feel free to take this time and do that, okay? So if you're with me, you're standing at the top of your mat. Your blocks are nearby because we are going to use them. We're going to take that inhale into that chair, and we're going to go into some lunges, okay? So inhale, bringing the arms up. This time, take a slight back bend, kind of like how we did in that camel. Open the chest, lift the chest, bring the arms back behind you. Squeeze the glutes, the hips can shoot forward. Keep the shoulders down. And as you exhale, sweep the arms down, bend the knees. We are right in that chair pose. Arms are behind us. Inhale, make your way to these blocks. Step that left foot back. We are in a nice high lunge here, supported with our yoga blocks. Bring those blocks on the inside of that foot. Maybe tiptoe that foot to the outside of those blocks. However you get there is how you get there. Bend into that front knee. Really shift the weight forward so that you're on your toes. You should feel this difference in shift, allowing the heel to come down in the back and pressing onto those toes. See what that feels like for you. See what that feels like up here in this hip space. When you're ready, bring that back knee down. Maybe place one hand on that right knee and begin to sickle the foot. So you're lifting your soles up, you're rolling onto the outside of that right foot. If that does not feel inviting, please do not do it. It feels good for me, but just because it feels good for me does not mean it's gonna feel good for you. But consider trying that out for size. Keep those hips square straight. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, shift into a half split, allowing the toes to come up. Maybe your hands are resting on the blocks. Keeping your chest lifted. Really kind of seeing what, possible movement feels like with this half split. Shift forward into that lunge again. Now, if you want to take a deeper lizard lunge, bring your elbows down to your blocks. Maybe just one elbow. Maybe like, okay, sis, one elbow is enough. That's cool. Bring that hand back to this knee. Maybe you're finding yourself kind of shifting into this space here. Maybe you're like, hell no, this is good for me. Maybe you're back here, up with your blocks. Continue to engage your lower abdominals. I know you probably forgot and your body went straight into flexible mode, but come back into your strength. Engage that core. You might feel yourself go, and that's okay, because this is probably where you're best to be at. You don't want to just completely rely on your flexibility, because then where is the strength, honey? Where is the strength? We want to build our strength while we're doing these flexy things, okay? Shift back into that half split. If you feel moved to enter your splits, by all means, please do so. If you're like, no, I don't want to do all that, maybe make your way back into child's pose. Maybe you're like, I'm going to do something a little different. Maybe come down, bring that foot back Shift those knees out and make your way to frog pose. So the knees are out very wide, and you want the insides of the arches of your feet to head toward the ground. The back might arch, but try to tuck that tailbone under. And you're like, you know what, I just kind of want to rest here. Do so. So you got the half split that you could be doing. You could be messing around in your full split. You can make your way through some more lunge, pulsing stuff. You could be here with me in frog pose, or you can be maxing and relaxing and really get your chill on in child's pose. Wherever you are, take 5, 4, breathe through, 3, 2, and 1. Make your way back into that tabletop position. We are going to go into those lunges on the other side. So whether that's coming back up on the yoga blocks or just placing your hands down, stepping that left foot forward, bracing yourself, prepping yourself, engaging the core, tucking that back toe, that right toe under, and you're lifting up. Remember, you want to feel that difference between allowing your heel to come down to the mat and your toes to press into the mat. You're going to feel it in both hips, but in different areas, okay? See what that shift feels like. Maybe take that hand to the knee and open up a little bit to that left side. Maybe you're ready to bring that back knee down and you're shifting the hips forward. Keep the core engaged. Engage those lower abdominals. Again, you might scooch back some, and that's okay. Honor your body. We're not doing the most, but we're prepping just in case the most occurs. Shift back into that half split, allowing the toes to come up. Maybe the hands on the blocks. Maybe you're like, ooh, I want to take it a little bit more forward. Shift forward into that lizard lunge, and you can invite your elbows down to your block. See, my both elbows like this side. Today. I'm here for it. Breathe through. Maybe bring that hand to the top of that knee and open that hip, bicycling or allowing the sole to come up as you roll over to the outside of that foot. So you got your little wigglies up. Maybe you're back forward and you're like, I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that half split again. Shifting the hips back again. Maybe you're finding some lateral movement if the knee and the hip feels good doing so. And again, if you're ready to go down into the split, I'm going to the split this time because my left split is my problem side, which is really not a problem. She just needs some work. She just needs some TLC. She just needs some attention. And that's cool. Breathe through. Again, you have child's pose. You have really whatever posture you want to do. Whatever posture you want to invite into your practice right now. It can be the yogi squat. You can flirt around with those lunges. You can be resting in that half split. You can come to child's pose. You can come to a child's pose, frog pose hybrid. Whatever you feel, go into your hip opener of the evening. Maybe there's a hip opener I haven't worked through today. You're like, I'm going to do that right now. I feel like going into pigeon or maybe butterfly. Find the hip opener of your choice. Or find your resting pose of your choice. Wherever you are, take 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Make your way to a comfortable seat with a wide straddle. You know we gotta do the center. You know we gotta do the middle. You don't have to go into the split, but I just really feel like opening the legs nice and wide. Even if you just sit here and pause and breathe, just like this has been fun. If that's it for you, do that. Again, these are just invitations, okay? So sit up tall, move the booty meat manually so that you're really on your sit bones. Sit up nice and tall. Maybe your blocks are right here in front of you. I like to keep them nearby because I never know how I'm going to feel by the time I enter a fold. Maybe you find some side-to-side lateral movement, some rib slides. Maybe you just like, I'm enjoying this little slide back and forth. Feeling that stretch in my legs, keeping the knees pointed to the ceiling. You can flex, point, or point the toes. Whatever feels good and inviting for you. I like to flex because it also helps me engage like my thighs and my glutes, really keeping the engagement in my legs as I do the things. And wherever you decide to land on that side and take that side bend again. Maybe you're grabbing your foot, maybe you're grabbing your pant leg. You might even be resting your elbow on the block on the inside of your leg. Breathe through. When you are ready, maybe take it forward if you like, and if you're like, nope, I'm not ready, take it over to the opposite side. Again, you can grab the foot, the shin, the pant leg, maybe even rest your elbow on the yoga block on the inside of your thigh, and reach that other arm up above head. Keep that engagement in the legs. Make your way back up, and now we are going to invite that center fold. Take an inhale. Keep a flat back, so lift the chest and lead with the chest. So the bubulas, the chesticles come forward. Maybe the blocks do too. You're reaching out to the blocks or out to the ground, keeping the chest lifted because we're leading with the chest. We don't want to round our back. We don't want our chin to come toward our chest, okay? We want to lead with the chest and lower with the chest. So if that means this is where we land, this is where we land, okay? We are honoring that. We're not pushing it. We're not compromising form. You don't want to compromise form. My form might look a little different than yours and vice versa, and that's cool. As long as you know that you are lifting your chest up and forward so that you can reach forward and really feel the benefits of this stretch. Now, I'm feeling it all in the back of my hips around to the hip joint as well as my inner thighs. You might feel it down here more in the calves or right behind the knees. See what this stuff feels like. See what adjusting and trying something else feels like. Maybe it's reaching forward more. Maybe it's like, ooh, I want to reach both feet. Maybe press them outward and lower my chest. Whatever you feel like doing, give it a try. Let your mind go there. Let your body follow, you know? And just take a moment of pause. Also, what I did not mention is if both legs being out ain't it for you. Remember that half straddle that we had going on? Bring one foot in. You can bring one foot in and do the same things. You can reach forward on the blocks. Or maybe you're just like, oh, I'm going to do that now. And then you can reach toward the foot or the shin. You can open up. There's so many options. I want to come forward. I want to come forward over this knee. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach for my blocks. You see, I want to round forward. It's like, ooh, nope. Keep the shoulders down. Adjust the height of the blocks. Let's feel supported the right way, okay? This was good. I'm feeling it in my low back on the right side, as well as that hip joint. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Take a moment, switch sides. If you find yourself lifting your foot and whatnot, okay, that's cool. Ain't no shame in how you get there, okay? Ain't no shame. Bringing my blocks back. This hip is more open, so it's like, ooh, this feels even more yummy on this side. My chest is lifted and I'm reaching toward the tips of the blocks. Keeping my legs engaged. If I ask you to lift up your heel, you should be able to do that. That's how much engagement you should have going on. Or if I said lift the hands, you shouldn't automatically pop back, because your legs are engaged. And it's helping your body come forward. Continue to breathe. When you are ready, wherever you are, shake that thing out. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Make your way down to your belly. We're going to hit our belly with a nice yummy twist before we make our way to our back, okay? So make your way to your belly. Let's invite some cobra, bringing the hands to the sides of the chest. Maybe they're out a little bit wider than touching the chest because you want to keep as best form as you possibly can. Shoulders come back. Tops of the feet and thighs and hips are pressed into the mat. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, press your hands into the mat, keeping the elbows bent and into the sides. Really engaging the abdominals for this lift. Engaging the back muscles for this lift. Maybe the elbows don't straighten. That's okay. Maybe you're like, ooh, I want to straighten them up a little bit more. Ooh. If you're like, I'm not feeling none of that, make your way to a Sphinx pose. You can continue with that pushing motion, lifting our head away from our shoulders. So wherever you are, take a breather there. Inhale and exhale your way back down to your mat. Bring your arms out to a T. Whichever foot, be it right or left, is up to you. Pick one. Bend that knee. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bring that foot on the outside of that straight leg. So you're bringing that foot behind you. And you're coming into a nice yummy twist. If this twist is not inviting, maybe stop mid-air. Maybe bring the foot right behind the knee. Maybe you're using that other hand to support this lift. And go into that twist. If you're just like, I'm not feeling that, flirt around with some cobra breath. So maybe you're taking an inhale, and maybe you're exhaling. We just want to do a little bit of goodness to the spine. If you're with me, the arms come back out to a T. Bend that opposite knee, bringing that foot up. And take that foot behind you. Again, you can use the opposite hand to help you with that lift, with that twist. And when you're ready, make your way back to your belly. Now, however you get there, you can make it fancy, or you can just shift and twist, make your way to your back. We're going to hold this out. Make your way to your back. The knees can be up. And just take a pause. You've been doing the damn thing all practice, okay? So let's just have this moment. Allow the ground to support you. Again, your knees are lifted, your feet are almost touching your butt. If they're touching, that's awesome. Arms are wherever they lay, wherever they land. Maybe you can invite them to your chest or even to your belly. Sometimes I like to reach them up above head. It's up to you. I want you to take an inhale, and when you're ready, you can bring one or both knees up toward the chest. Maybe use your hands for support behind the knee. And take a moment and rock side to side if that feels inviting. And if that doesn't feel inviting, simply find stillness. Keep that stillness going. Wherever you may be, take one knee, keep it up toward the chest, take an inhale, and bring that knee over to the opposite side. So we're doing something similar to what we did when we were on our belly. And also, if your block is still nearby and that knee is just like, ooh, I'm not feeling that knee going all the way down, allow your knee to rest on your yoga block while you keep that twist open. So the arms are out to a T. Maybe this arm is floating, and that's okay. You should just feel that stretch across your chest into your arms. Unwind that twist, make your way back to center. Maybe the knees come back toward the chest and you find that side to side movement. Maybe it's just the one knee and you're like, I'm ready to go to the other side. Take it over to the other side. Again, take that block with you so that you can rest your knee on it. I just happen to have the couch here, so I'm doing pretty good. And open that arm. Maybe it floats, or maybe you have your other yoga block and it's resting on your yoga block. Just breathe into this twist. As the final boss, untwist this little twisty supine situation, bringing the knees back up. Maybe you're grabbing your toes with your peace fingers and enter a happy baby. If that feels inviting, if that does not feel inviting, consider bringing the soles of the feet together and allowing your knees to just fall out to the side. So you got a happy baby going on, or you can even have a supported butterfly by bringing the blocks to support the knees once more. Maybe the hands are resting on the belly, or they're resting on the chest. So you got happy baby, you got butterfly, and of course, you can have your knees up for Savasana, or you can straighten everything out and just melt like putty into the mat and take a moment. Wherever you are and however you get to where you're going, I do have a little something that I want to read. It's from this beautiful handy book, Savasana Reads. And it's just a little something for you to consider, to rest your mind on next to your breath as we begin this yummy Savasana. It is going to get quiet at some point. I have not left, okay? I have not left. But I do want to read this little bit. Personal achievements. And before I read this bit, if you have not already, consider taking a soft gaze up at the sky or the ceiling for this moment, or closing your eyes. If that feels inviting to you, consider closing your eyes. Personal achievements. Reflect on an achievement from your day, no matter how small. It could be completing a task, making progress on a project, joining this yoga class, or taking a step toward a personal goal. Recognize your efforts and dedication. Feel gratitude for your capabilities and for the opportunity to grow and succeed. Let this feeling of accomplishment inspire confidence and contentment. You did your big one today. So I want you to just rest your mind on a personal achievement of the day. And just remember that you can do the hard things. You did and are doing the hard things, including resting in Savasana. So it's going to get quiet now, but I am still here, okay? All right. As you begin to make connection back to your body and the space that you are in, make your way into a fetal position on your left side, bringing the knees in toward the chest. Doesn't have to go too far. Your eyes can remain closed. Maybe grab your yoga block as a pillow for support. When you are ready, come back up to a tall seat. Again, your eyes can be closed. Your seat can look like whatever it needs to look like for you. As long as it feels good, you're doing good, okay? Bring both hands to heart center, maybe in prayer or just against your chest. Give yourself thanks for showing up in this moment. Take a big inhale, bringing the arms up to the ceiling. Exhaling them back down to your chest. Inhale them up once more. This time, bringing the hands in prayer to the center of your chest. Pause here with the hands in prayer. Another big inhale through the nose and out through the nose. Thank you for letting me lead you in this practice this evening, or whatever time you might be watching this. I thoroughly enjoyed leading you in this flow today, and I hope that this flow found you, held you, and put you in a space where you are ready to conquer this new week. Or at best, you are preparing for your day or for some good sleep. As always, this is Antoinette. We did the things. I am so proud of you. Again, I thank you for letting me lead you. Until next time, y'all.